When I rewatched House of the Dragon Season 1 leading into Season 2, I fell in love with the series way more than I did when I first watched it. Maybe it was because I was binging it versus watching week to week, and I was able to watch it different times other than late night on a Sunday. Maybe it was because I finally got over the Game of Thrones Season 8 hangover, or maybe just because I was using my brain more. But the rewatch made me fall back in love with George R.R. Martin's fucked up little nerd world. I said Season 1 of House of the Dragon can go toe-to-toe with any of the best seasons of Game of Thrones. And then I thought the Season 2 premiere kept the ball moving with the betrayals and the massacres and the dead babies and the illicit affairs. But Episode 2's 69-minute runtime left a lot to be desired, in my opinion. Not every week's going to be a home run, but when you only have 8 episodes this season, each one counts that much more. We're already basically 25% of the way finished. So here are the 3 things I did not like about Rhaenyra the Cruel. A, the pacing. What I love so much about the first 10 episodes of this prequel series is the show's so dense. Every character and every scene mattered in a substantial way. There was barely any throwaway scenes. And then the premiere of Season 2 took the baton and ran with that same feel. Week 2 felt like we're spinning our wheels a little bit, because way back, before the time jump in Season 1, Otto Hightower explained to Alicent that it was going to be her kids challenging Rhaenyra's claim to the throne and that there would be war.
If Rhaenyra succeeds, him, war will follow. Do you understand?
And then Aemon stole a dragon, got his eye chopped out, and I was like, we are going to get war. And then Lucerys gets eaten by a dragon. I was like, oh, fuck, we are definitely going to get war. And now a baby's head gets chopped off, and I'm like, where the fuck is the war? I'm not one of these guys that wants every episode to be like clinking and clanking of swords and battle scenes like it's every action movie you've seen. But for the sake of the storytelling and the plot, I think we got to get to the next level of this feud. It's like Season 2 is Mike McCarthy. They have bad clock management. Because that brings us to number 2. They rush when they shouldn't, and they don't rush when they should. Perfect example of rushing was the battle of Sir Erryk and Sir Arryk. That feels like a fight that maybe should have brought viewers to tears, or at least a showdown that makes you understand the gravitas of the situation. But we literally can't tell who's Erryk and Arryk, and we don't have an emotional connection to either of them. A brother murdering his own brother and then seppukuing himself should be a moment of truth that we built to over the course of multiple episodes or maybe even seasons, showing us both sides of these guys so we get to know them. And then you deliver this heartbreaking, bittersweet, emotional death scene that makes us feel like we did when Jon Snow stabbed Dany, or when the Hound fought Brienne of Tarth, or even when the Mountain fought the Viper. There was enough of a build-up for that we were pumped to see that face-off. But this was a rushed confrontation that evoked very little emotion. We literally could not tell who was who, and it wouldn't have mattered because we don't have that much of a connection to either of them. Also, the White Worm has this big proclamation and connection with Rhaenyra, where she's set free. She's promising one day that she'll be useful to Rhaenyra. And then, mere minutes later, she sees Sir Arryk, and then off camera warns Sir Erryk of the plot. Now, in Game of Thrones, those are things that would have happened maybe 3 seasons apart, not 3 minutes. And then meanwhile, on the other side of the coin, the second episode featured 3 scenes that were so out of place, they felt just jammed in there, just for future reference. There was 5 to 10 minutes that were wasted on Alan and Adam chatting at the docks, and Jacaerys and Baela chit-chatting during crossbow practice, and then Hugh at his house with his wife complaining that the bills are piling up. And I understand that Alan and Adam are the Sea Snake's bastards. They'll come into play. I'm sure Baela will probably murk somebody with her crossbow in the future, and they'll be like, remember? This was Chekhov's gun. And then I hear that Hugh the Hammer was important in the book, so we need to establish him. But all 3 of these scenes just jammed in so they can say, remember her, remember him, from that one thing that one time in episode 2? Again, those are things that felt way more planned out and executed in Game of Thrones than they did in Hot D. And then D, not to be the insolent pup stamping his feet, asking for Dracarys, but when the fuck are these dragons going to come into play? I'm tired of these dragons basically being used as airplanes. They're just like one-man, woman, or Cessnas to fly to other houses and then fly home. I'm going to start tracking the flights of Korax and Arrax and Vagar and Melees and Ajax, and I'm going to start tracking them like it's Taylor Swift's jet. I mean, there was more dragon use in Game of Thrones, and that was when almost every dragon was extinct. And I know episode 4 is titled The Dance of the Dragons, and apparently it's going to be really hyped up, and I'm sure we'll see some dog fights in the sky, but I'm sick of this Cold War with dragons. I know that it makes, perfect logical sense, but it does not make for entertaining TV. So somebody hop on a goddamn dragon and go fly and fucking flame Sir Criston Cole for me.